So welcome everybody. Today we are going to learn how to solve quadratic equations. Quadratic equations. Let me write it. Quadratic equations. Quadratic. Why is this called quadratic equation? What is the form of this type of equation? We may write it as ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a must not be 0. This type of equation is called quadratic equation. We have to remember this thing. For example, if we write say x square plus 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. Here you can compare the coefficient of x square, that is 1 here. Coefficient of x is 1 here, and that can be compared to a. The coefficient of x square, coefficient of b is 3, coefficient of x is 3, which can be compared with b, and the constant term c. So the coefficients should be compared with the original form. This is the original form of quadratic equation, generalized form of quadratic equation, where a must not be equal to 0. Why? If a becomes 0, then the generalized form changes to 0 into x square plus b into x plus c is equal to 0. So this part will vanish. You will have bx plus c is equal to 0, and this is the most familiar form you have learnt in previous classes, known as linear equation. But here we are going to learn quadratic equation. So quadratic equation must contain ax square. This term must be present in the equation. For example, if you write 4x square minus 1 is equal to 0, this is quadratic equation. If you write x square is equal to 0, or say x square is equal to 9, quadratic equation. So one thing, the very basic thing we need to remember, a must not be equal to 0. That is, x square term must be present in the equation. Now how to solve this type of equation? Let us take that previous example I have already given. X square plus 3x plus 2. First of all, we need to verify whether this is arranged according to the generalized form of quadratic equation. This equation is arranged. See, x square, x, and the constant. You can consider the indices of x is gradually decreasing. 2, 1, here the index of x is 0, exponent of x is 0. You know, x to the power 0 will be 1, so 2 into 1 will be 1. So in that way you can remember either the x will be arranged according to the increasing order of their indices or decreasing order of their indices. Here the x has been arranged in accordance with the decreasing order. 2, 1, here 0. X to the power 0 was there. That's why it has become 2 into 1, 2. You have to arrange it first. If it is not arranged, if you watch the equation is not arranged, you have to arrange it accordingly. First you have to arrange it. Since this is arranged, nothing is to be done here. So the second step is split the coefficient of the middle term, that is x related term, only x related term. Split the coefficient of x related term, here it is 3, into two parts. What two parts you have learnt in previous class? This should be done by determining the product of A and C, as you have done in previous class. The product of A and C, here the product of A and C is 1 into 2, that is 2. Now take out the factors of 2. 2 has only two factors, 1 and 2. By adding these two factors, you have to get the coefficient of x, that is b. So b will be equal to a plus c. Here it is 2 into 1, so you can write x square plus 2 plus 1 into x plus 2 is equal to 0. Now split the open the bracket, 2x plus x plus 2 is equal to 0, or group these four terms. Now take the common terms outside, x plus 2, here the common term is 1, common factor. X plus 2 is the common factor, so x plus 2 and remains left x plus 1 is equal to 0. See, here we have the product of two factors and the value of which is 0. If the product of two factors is equal to 0, either of the two factors will be 0. This is called zero product rule. Remember this thing, zero product rule. Product of two factors, either x plus 2 is equal to 0, which implies x is equal to minus 2, or x plus 1 is equal to 0, which implies x is equal to minus 1. So x assigns two values for which the left side of this equation becomes 0, that is the right side. So the equation satisfies. For these two values of x, the equation satisfies. So these are the solutions. These two are the solution, either minus 2 or minus 1. This way we can proceed.